The Carolina Hurricanes absolutely destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets last night 8-1 and are now on their way to Buffalo, New York to have their final preseason game tonight against the Sabers. Find out about last night's game and tonight's in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. As always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Tuesday afternoon. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96 and subscribe to the show on YouTube and turn on your notifications. We're starting to get some momentum over there on YouTube, so you're not going to want to miss an episode over there. And as I mentioned, the Carolina Hurricanes destroyed the Columbus Blue Jackets last night 8-1. Now, we see that final score. We know what ended up happening, but actually the Hurricanes got off on the wrong foot a bit with Columbus actually notching the first goal. But thankfully, Yesperi Kotkaniemi was able to notch a power play goal a little bit later. He has looked very good this preseason, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do this season. Again, he's looked really well in the preseason, but again, it is preseason. He's taking on a much larger role this season, so I'm really excited to see what he can do. He's looked really good so far. We also have a lot of other guys that looked really, really good last night. Derek Stepan had 3 points in last night's game. He's a guy that is still fighting for a contract for some reason, especially after last night, with 2 goals and an assist last night. It was his last 3-point regular season game was in 2017. His last multi-goal game was back in 2019. Both of those were when he was with the Coyotes, but he is playing phenomenal hockey this preseason. Why he hasn't gotten his contract yet, I do not know. He is slotting into tonight's lineup again. We'll talk more about that whenever we preview tonight's game, but he earned himself a contract after last night's game. He was very good for the Hurricanes last year, and they were noticeably better with him in the lineup. Why he wasn't played during the playoffs, I do not know. And he's earned himself a contract. I don't know if they're just taking forever to write it up or what, but he's earned one. You also have Brent Burns continuing to shine in the preseason. Last night, he had 3 points, a goal, and 2 assists. He has been another one that has been great for the Hurricanes. He's had 5 points in 2 preseason games so far. And I said, that I'm predicting a career season for him this year with the system he is in, the team around him, his defensive partner. I think everything is going to go right for him. He put up 54 points last year on a bad Sharks team. Now he's on a great Hurricanes team where he doesn't have to wear as many hats. It's going to be crazy for him this year, and I cannot wait to see it because, again, he's done great so far in the preseason. 2 games, 5 points. Crazy. I cannot wait to see what he can do for the team this year. Martin Necas, another guy, he's got some expectations on him this year. He didn't really live up to him last year. So far in the preseason, he has looked really good as well. Last night, he had 2 goals and 2 assists. I'm really excited to see what he can do this season because, again, he is one that didn't live up to expectations last year that were placed on him. And he's got a lot to do this season. And he's going to be another one that's taking on a bigger role this year with Nino Niederreiter now being gone and Max Pacioretty being out until late January, early February. He's going to have a big role to play on this team between now and the rest of the season and going forward, just in general, in his career here with the Hurricanes. He's going to have a bigger role to play. And so far in the preseason, he's looking good. Again, regular season is a different breed. Yeah, I mentioned that with Kotkaniemi. It's one thing to look good right now, but that has to translate into the regular season and then postseason whenever that comes along. And I'm really, really loving what we're seeing from this team so far this season or this preseason. They have a plus 79 shot differential through 12 periods this season, which is insane. They're out shooting like crazy. I forgot to mention it in the Florida recap. They outshot the Panthers 47-10. Crazy. And last night, 45-26. Now, obviously, these numbers are fun and whatnot, and it's obviously fun when we're winning, but we have seen the opposite where the Hurricanes have this crazy shot differential and they're not coming out on the winning side. So I do want you guys to keep that in mind because we've seen the opposite of this. We've seen like this, they're out shooting the opponents like crazy and winning, but we've seen the opposite where they're out shooting opponents like crazy and still losing. So that is one thing I still am gonna be saying this season of, hey, make sure the shots you are taking are good shots. You're not just shooting the puck at the net, you're shooting to score. But we did get to hear from Martin Necas, Brent Burns, and Rod Brind'Amour all last night after the game. And we will hear from them right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, it's fall now. Folks are, maybe you're not necessarily trying to get into the summer bodies, but they're still wanting to have those healthy snacks for when they're going to the gym. Is a New Year's resolution. You've stuck to it. That is phenomenal, and I am proud of you for it. And if you fell off from it, get back on the horse, folks. We're all here to support you. And folks, Built Bar is here to be that protein bar for you. You guys that have been around for a long time, you know all about Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar. It is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And they are all covered in 100% real chocolate, whether it's the regulars, whether it's the puffs, whether it's the crunch, whatever it may be. They're all covered in 100% chocolate. And all of the bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. So eat something that tastes good and is good for you. And regardless of the flavor, whether it's one of the classic flavors, whether it's a puff, a crunch, whatever, there is going to be something for everyone. So you can run to builtbar.com and grab a box for you and the family. It will be the perfect treat, or you can just find a hiding spot and keep them all for yourselves. So right now, you can go over to built.com and use promo code locked on 15 and get 15% off your order when you use promo code locked on 15 at built.com. Now, folks, as I mentioned, after last night's game, we got to hear from Martin Necas, Brent Burns, and Rod Brind'Amour, and we will hear from those guys right now, starting with Martin Necas.
Great night. Not a bad night out there on the ice for the offense really come together.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game for us. Obviously, the whole preseason has been good so far. Camp's going good, so we have so many good players. We play basically two teams, and everybody's working hard. So far it's been good, and it's nice to get a couple touches in the game and feel for it.
You said it was preseason, it's undefeated, especially with the different lineups. How confident is that to make you and the rest of these guys here you can gel that quick and transfer to the regular season?
I mean, it's more individually, I would say, because you just gotta you always need to get into that kind of timing for the game, and for it to be, you can practice as hard as you want, but the game's always different. So it's been good so far. I mean, we have one more tomorrow, and then we gotta get ready for the season.
2 goals, 2 assists. Just, I mean, how good is it personally to just see the puck go in the net?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's just a preseason, but obviously every time you score, things going well, it feels good. But it's more about to get in the game, and if the goals are there, it's perfect. But it's got to be there in the league.
Is that a little bit of a tough one in the third period to get through? You see what happens in the first 2 periods. Kind of, you want to keep playing, but at the same time, you don't want to pour it on too hard.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to go hard, but when it was I don't know if it was 6-1, I don't know, by 5. After second, obviously in preseason it goes a little down. The pace goes a little down, and wasn't our best period, but somehow we managed to, I think, win it, and it was good.
It was the last time you had 3 points in like 5 minutes.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever had an NHL, but just like I said, it's preseason. I would rather save it for the season, but it's good to have these moments.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
Yeah, with what Nate just said there, the third period wasn't their best, and as I mentioned, they didn't get off on the right foot in this game, but they were able to rally and get the job done, of course. And he kept saying it's just preseason, and that is absolutely the case. I've been saying that all preseason long, but I do think for him especially that having a game like this where just things are going right, he's getting the puck on the back of the net. I think that's going to be big for him in terms of just building some confidence, honestly, because again, he didn't have the best season last year, and getting that confidence back again. It is just preseason. They're not going against the Columbus roster that they're going to be playing on opening night. That is all obviously something to take into consideration there. But again, things went right for him, and I think that is something there that can really help him, again, just build confidence. I think this is a good confidence building game for Necas. And I'm excited to see what he can do this season because he has looked good this preseason, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Hopefully, he has more games like this in the regular season, in the playoffs. That's something I'm wanting to see from him. That's something that a lot of people are wanting to see from him. He has that potential. He just has to do it. Obviously, that is, of course, easier said than done for me, for you, of course. But, I'm really expecting big things from him this year. And another guy expecting big things from, especially by his preseason performance, is Brent Burns. And we will hear what he had to say after the game right now.
Rich, you feel more and more comfortable with this team? Obviously, you're playing some great hockey.
Yeah, I think it takes, just every day it's getting better, getting used to the drills and plays and, just different guys. It's just it's been part of the fun to be excited and nervous for practices and just getting to be a part of growing into something, and it's been fun to watch these guys. I mean, I've said it before, but a lot of skill and they work hard, so it's fun to be on that side, and I think it just builds for everybody. I think the energy keeps going as each line goes out, and it's fun to be a part of.
You see, you feel like a kid again. Not too long ago. Is that still? You still feel like getting into practice and starting to play now?
No. I don't know if I've done many drills right yet, but it's it's just a great energy. It's everything's still it's new, so it's natural to have just good feelings and good energy, and I think the nerves help all that, and it's fun. I think there's just it's a great time here. I think there's a lot of guys here that it's just a lot of work and a lot of enjoyment doing the work, and it's contagious for everybody, old or young. So it's fun.
How would you describe the chemistry that you're getting to build with Jacob specifically so far?
Yeah, I mean it's 2 games. I think he's an incredible talent. I think he just does so many things so well, and you just you're trying to help in certain situations, stay out of the way in certain situations. The systems are a little different. It's you have to go into games and see how things happen under pressure when you know there's going to be physical contact, and you can see how guys react. And so it's good. You have to play games to get that, and it's only going to get better. As time goes. But I think in saying that, like, he's so highly skilled and good at everything. It's made it a lot easier. The way he knocks pucks out of the air, his stick, his feet. I didn't know that, so it's nice to see.
With the system and the way things are, can we expect to see you light up the power play a lot more like you did tonight?
Well, I mean, they're coming from good players making great plays. That are just it's fun to be part of. I mean that's the goal. You want to do it every time, and not going to happen. You want to build towards it and get chemistry and. Figure out little plays where it becomes second nature, and it just takes time. And but I've said it before, the talent level of those guys, and they have that killer instinct, and they work for it, and so it makes it a lot easier on the D, and the D they have that support. It's fun to be part of.
All right, thanks, Burns.
Yeah, so with Brent Burns, obviously, it was only his second game with the Hurricanes, second preseason game. So obviously stuff is still going to be new for him, and to new team, new city after spending so many years over in San Jose. So yeah, of course, that new stuff is still going to be there. But as he's talking about Jacob Slavin, I've said before that I'm expecting this pairing, especially, once they get, a little bit more time together, to be one of the best defensive pairings in the NHL. If there was an award for the best defensive pairing, these 2 guys will be in the mix. I can guarantee it. I think this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal pairing with him and Jacob Slavin, because you heard all the stuff he said about Jacob Slavin. That's stuff that we as Hurricanes fans and people that cover the team have been saying for a long time. It's just now, like, more and more and more people are realizing it. And to have a guy like Brent Burns choose to come here and be paired with Jacob Slavin, that's great. And I cannot wait to see what these guys are able to do during the regular season. Like you said, you're not always going to have games like this, and that's not always going to happen. It's the goal, but it's not always going to happen. But just the team around Burns, like I said earlier, he is going to be in a phenomenal place to succeed this year. And I am so excited to see what he can do. Again, he's feeling like a kid. So much new stuff going on. I'm really excited to see, come like mid-season, like where we're at. And, again, I'm predicting like him to have a career year this year. Like everything around him, at least as of right now, is looking like it's going to go right. And I think it's going to be really, really fun. Right? A really fun year for Brent Burns and us to watch him, and fans of his, that are from San Jose that'll be watching, and even guys, from before, back in his Minnesota days. It's going to be a really fun year for him, and I cannot wait to see what happens. But we also got to hear from the man, the myth, the legend, Rod Brind'Amour, and we hear what he had to say after the game right now.
You must have been very concerned about the level of play in the third period.
Yeah. No, we said we needed to get some action on Rance, so we certainly helped. We gave him a few there, so he got some work.
In all seriousness, to see Marty playing with that kind of speed and that kind of verve, sort of, I know that's what you talked with him about and wanted from him, and I know it's just preseason, but you have to be glad to see it.
Well, he's played well. I mean, there's nothing really surprising. I don't really see any difference in his play. I just think it's always been there, and that pace has been there since we've gotten him. I mean, it's just, again, like you just said, it's preseason, so he's got to continue that when it counts for real. But certainly better than not seeing it. He's definitely been impactful in every game that he's played.
Is Stepan closer to a contract?
That's not a question for me, but he's definitely earning his stripes here, and that's the thing we talked about after the game. Tough to play these games, especially for older guys that understand that we got 82 games coming up here that are going to count, for real. But they all still went out there and did their job, and that's what we need around here. It shows the young guys, what it takes to play in this league.
Are you just being extra careful with Pesh to sit him out? Nothing
Yeah.
to worry about?
Nope.
I'm assuming a game like that, especially the third period, you're just holding your breath and saying, let's
running
clock maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you just never know, right? And it's so, it is tough. As you notice, we shut a lot of guys down, but you still have to play guys. You can't play, the young guys the whole game. So, we were just trying to get through it. But I like that for 2 periods we did it right.
I know you had a question for the officials after the Goodbranson leap or whatever that was. It seemed like you were just okay getting a power play out of it, but that's a little dangerous for a preseason game, isn't it?
It's preseason, so what am I going to argue about? I mean, I do like the fact that they review this stuff. I mean, I don't know what was said about it. I didn't even actually get a look at it again, so, maybe you just say he probably wanted out anyway. He's been around. He's probably going, I don't really want to play in these games either. They probably, it's one of those things, right? But I'm glad nobody got hurt.
All right. So Quinnipiac kid can play a little bit?
Yeah, he had a good game.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
Thanks.
Yeah, so Rod Brind'Amour is, of course, saying the same thing a lot of folks have been saying, is that it's just preseason. But, we said, before that, they got to play the full 60 minutes. And the third period wasn't great, okay? It wasn't. And that is going to be something that come regular season we need to lock down. Like, make sure you're playing the full 60 minutes. I get, okay, you're up, this much. Okay, maybe pull off the gas a little bit, but, come on, you still got to play the full 60 minutes. And again, I had avoided talking about it, but, Brett Pesce, leaving the game after 2 periods, leaving with a lower body injury. Of course, you heard what Rod had to say, about it. But it's going to be one that, I think that, he'll be all right. He's not playing tonight. We're not having that Friday game either. I think come opening night, we'll be good. We'll be good. I think it's just going to be something I need to sit down and take it easy for a little bit. But, I ultimately, I think Pesce's going to be all right because, it was mentioned, in the post-game notes, that I am pulling up right now. What Rod had to say about it is, obviously, you just heard it literally from him. But of course, Rod, said that the team was just being extra careful and that no further cause for concern. Again, I think he'll be fine come opening night. Nothing to worry about. But, there's a lot going on, with the Hurricanes, and I think, there's definitely a few little things that need to be ironed out, come, opening night. But ultimately, I am confident that they will do what they need to do. But before we get to opening night, we got tonight's game against Buffalo, and we will dive into that Buffalo game right after this quick break. Now, folks, tonight the Hurricanes are taking on the Buffalo Sabres in their final preseason game. They're heading into this game 4-0 in the preseason. They've beat Columbus, Florida Panthers twice, and Tampa Bay Lightning. Now they're gonna go look to beat the Buffalo Sabres, and this is really like a back-to-back, honestly, because they're rolling with 10 of the 18 players that were from last game, and it's almost the entirety of the Chicago Wolves that are still, on the Hurricanes training camp roster right now, aside from like a few other guys. I saw someone on Twitter this morning call it the babysitters. It's the Chicago Wolves with a few babysitters, and yeah, we're rolling with we saw it early when we went down to Florida. Rolled with almost entirely prospects, and we're doing the same tonight. And I'm not worried because again, it is just preseason, and this is going to be one that there's two things that I'm looking at, with this game. I mentioned one already, in Derek Stepan getting himself a contract. I think he earned one after last game. He played great in the previous game against Columbus. I think he earned it after that because he's looked good all preseason. He's looked good in training camp, and we know that he was really good for the team last year. So I think he has earned it already, but as of 11:59 a.m., he hasn't been signed to a deal yet. So he's essentially still playing for contract tonight. I think he is going to get one. I really do. Again, I've speculated on whether or not it'll be a 1 or 2-way deal. Uh, and that's something that remains to be seen. I said the same thing about Calvin Hahn, but I think Stepan, he's played phenomenal. I think he's earned a contract. I think he'll get one. And we'll just have to wait and see how things go. I think you could expect another big game from him tonight. Maybe not to the extent of the last game. And good Lord, the sun is coming out. And there's Sebastian. There he is. Say hi, buddy. But the other thing that I am looking at in this game tonight is that of the third pairing defensive battle, because all four of those guys are going to be in this game. Calvin Hahn, Jalen Chatfield, Ethan Bear, and Dylan Coughlin. Those are going to be the four guys there. All these guys are playing, and it's going to be very, I think, like Stepan, I think you can see really good games from all four of those guys. And I think, I'm kind of decided on how it's going to go. I've mentioned it before. I think Chatfield, barring some crazy game, is going to end up back in Chicago. And if someone goes down, he'll be the first one called up. And I think you'll be rolling with Coughlin, Bear, and Hahn. I think that's what it'll be this year. But again, expect Chatfield to go out there and have himself a game. Have himself a freaking game. I expect that from him tonight because this is the final preseason game. Yeah, you're probably going to have a few more practice sessions and stuff like that between now and when the final cuts are made, but expect a game from him. I really think so. And we'll look at some other guys as well. I think Stefan Nazin, I think he's going to be another guy. Yeah, he's not going to be making the final roster, but again, a guy that I think he's going to go out and have himself a game. He's done it multiple times already this preseason. I expect the same thing from him. I expect Jack Drury to be looking really good. Ryan Dzingel as well. He's already on a contract, but it's a two-way. Of course, he's going to want to play in the NHL. Obviously, he's fine playing in the AHL, of course, but expect himself to really go out, play really well. Again, I already mentioned Stepan and Nozen. Jamison Rees, another guy, he's looked really good between the prospect showcase and preseason. He's looked really good. And yes, Spirit Kotkaniemi, he's another guy. He's playing tonight. He has looked really good this preseason. Expect him to be doing the same exact thing. And it's gonna be fun to see some of these guys go out, because it's essentially the last chance, for a guy like Stepan, a guy like Chatfield, to be on that opening night roster, or in Stepan's case, get a contract. It's gonna be a fun game, and you know the Hurricanes have shown already that they can really go out there and play, even with the prospects. I think one thing that everyone is gonna love tonight, it's not Freddie Anderson, it's not Antti Raanta in it. It's Pyotr Kochetkov and Zach Sawchenko. Uh, those are the two guys that are going to be in between the pipes tonight. I think we're going to be seeing Pyotr tonight, and it is going to be fun. People are just chomping at the bit to see him play in a Hurricanes uniform again. Yeah, he took the Hurricanes by storm, no pun intended, last season. And then he went on and won a Calder Cup. The people are really wanting to see him, and obviously it would have been phenomenal if we got to see him in Raleigh. The place would have erupted. People are going to be tuning in, heck, just to see him tonight, and I think he's going to be the one getting the start. And people are wanting to see Pyotr, and sorry for that little technical difficulty there, but yeah, people are going to tune in just to watch for me. He's going to be really fun to watch. This is his first preseason action he's gotten, and I'm really hyped to see it, and I know you guys are as well. So enjoy the game tonight, folks. I know I will, and make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. Myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Turn on notifications, and I will talk to you guys in tomorrow's episode where we recap this game from tonight, as well as look at some cap situations with these new contracts coming in. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow.